rank this list on originality, I'd probably give it a 1. There are already countless other videos about people discussing their favourite video game franchises, but I decided it was time I'd give it a shot. And because this is my list, it'll most likely differ from yours, so if your favourite franchise doesn't make the list, please don't complain. But I'd love to hear what your favourites are, so feel free to leave a comment below. With that said, this is MadJack64's Top 10 Favourite Video Game Franchises. Let's start this list off with one of the most nostalgic video game franchises from my childhood. Crash Bandicoot was the very first gaming franchise I became attached to, and let me tell you, I played his games to a pulp. Crash Bandicoot was basically Sony's answer to Nintendo's Mario and Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog, a brand new platforming hero that can represent the PlayStation, and even gave Nintendo and Sega a run for their money. I was about 3 when I got my PS1 for Christmas, and bundled inside was a copy of the original Crash Bandicoot, the first game I ever owned and played. It was hard as balls, but it didn't distract me from having a great time. The original trilogy on the PlayStation were all outstanding platformers with great level design and stellar soundtracks, and the Wrath of Cortex and Twin Sanity aren't too shabby either. It wasn't until Titans and Mind Over Mutant where things really took a turn for the worse, and Crash Bandicoot just faded into obscurity and hasn't been seen since. Oh well, I'll always have the original trilogy on PlayStation 1. Which reminds me, why haven't they made a Crash Bandicoot HD Remake collection pack yet? Hell, why isn't he in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale? You put in characters like Fat Princess and Parappa the Rapper, but not friggin' Crash Bandicoot? Sony, I encourage you, no, demand you to create another installment for Crash. It's time to bring the Bandicoot back. In case you guys don't know, I'm not one that likes to be scared. I hate scary rides, I hate scary movies, and I especially hate scary games. However, I am willing to make an exception for the greatest survival horror game series ever produced, Resident Evil. Never have I played a game series that combines the suspenseful horror element and the fast-paced action genre together so flawlessly. Resident Evil has always been a fan favourite amongst those who are fans of horror or shooter games. The presentation in these games is sublime. Everything is so dark and eerie and always keeps you on your toes, as you never know what could happen next. The story is even pretty original too, and only gets more and more intense as the game progresses. But the gameplay steals the show. Trying to reload a weapon while you've got a crowd of zombies chasing you down is a feeling I can't describe that you must experience for yourself. Like many fans, my favourite in the series is Resident Evil 4, as it was the first one I played, silly me. But previous installments like Nemesis and Veronica X are great as well, and with Resident Evil 6 coming out soon, I'm hyped as hell. You've been having some trouble lately, Capcom. Don't screw this one up. You might even redeem yourselves. When I mention the company Konami, only one game franchise comes to mind.
Tasty.
Metal Gear Solid. Now just because I don't talk about a game franchise very often doesn't mean I don't like it, but oh boy, I simply adore this franchise. I can't think of another series that has truly captured the art of cinematic photography and has been turned into one of the most revolutionary game franchises ever produced. This is the quintessential stealth game series. Everything that we love about spy or espionage movies, Konami has successfully brought them into this epic series. While my favourite will always be the original, all of them truly display what it means to be an epic series. This is unquestionably the most cinematic and heartfelt video game series I have ever experienced. Every single character is so remarkably three-dimensional and well developed that you become really attached to them. The fourth installment, Guns of the Patriot, is the single-handed saddest, most moving game I've ever played. I won't give anything away, but by the end I was crying, and I'm not the only one who feels this way. Almost everyone who's played this series has been touched by it, and everyone can agree with me when I say that Metal Gear Solid is one of the greatest franchises of all time. What? How dare you place The Legend of Zelda, the greatest video game franchise to ever grace our consoles, at only number 7? You have no taste in games, you have a difference of opinion to mine, and therefore you are a faggot. Hold it right there. I see you reaching for that dislike button. Before you start flaming me, allow me to explain. Yes, The Legend of Zelda is quite renowned in the world of gaming and is often considered to be the greatest series in history. So why is it only number 7? Well, in order to truly love something, you often have to be introduced to it at a young age. And sadly, Zelda wasn't exactly a part of my childhood. My first Zelda game was Ocarina of Time, which I didn't get to play until 2008, silly me. I really enjoyed it, and it was then when I really started to enjoy the series. I can clearly see why people consider this their favourite video game franchise, and if this list was more accurate, I'd probably put this higher on the list. But sadly, I can't justify myself to put it over some of my other favourites. Bottom line, I love The Legend of Zelda, but there are just some franchises I love a little bit more. Now when it comes to fighting games, I am a junkie. I love me some fighting games. I love them more than my family. Okay, maybe I don't like them that much, but still, I hold them very dearly to my heart. What fighting game series am I talking about in particular? Well, duh, of course. It's freaking Street Fighter. The stimulating, balanced gameplay, a great learning curve, tons of memorable characters, a great competitive tournament scene. But what about Marvel vs. Capcom? Oh, of course, MVC, the crazy addictive gameplay, crap ton of playable characters. There is also Darkstalkers. Oh yeah, how could I forget about Darkstalkers? Own Power Stone. Okay, get it. And there's, alright, I get it. Sheesh. It's no surprise that Capcom has a knack for creating some of the greatest fighting game franchises ever, and narrowing it down to my definitive favourite is no easy feat. So screw it, I decided to put every fighting game franchise made by Capcom on this list. Why? Because it's my list and I do what I want. Some of our fondest childhood memories have been those spent in the arcade, mashing buttons and spending quarters. And that's what's so great about Capcom. They can successfully replicate these memories so well for modern standards. Remember Street Fighter 4? That was an old series thought dead, but Capcom revived it and it became crazy popular, and is still one of my most played games today. I think what I love about Capcom's fighting franchises is the learning curve. Easy to learn but difficult to master, which means you'll just have fun mashing the punch button. Whether chucking fireballs, assembling your dream team of 3, or trying to get that Shoryuken motion just right, Capcom fighting games are always worth putting in another quarter. Speaking of Capcom,